Fame, if you win it, comes and goes in a minute. Where's the real stuff in life to cling to long?
Now, you've got a lot more experience at this than I had, but I want to mention that I had a radio talk show in Chicago a number of years ago, and the subject matter was teens that were in trouble with the law, all male. Two interesting results came of the effort. One, most of these young men, without provocation, blamed their plight on the misguidance of their mother. And two, the adults that were in charge, for the most part, felt that these dire straits were cycles that could not be broken. What are your findings and your thoughts about this?
Well, I think the cycles could be broken. I don't think we try hard enough and we don't get involved enough. So at least in my dealings with at-risk kids and adults, I see a result right away where I try to get them. If it's the adults, I try to get them to find their childlike mojo. And if they're children, I try to make them or teach them how to be a kid. I do that with music. So I think they can make a change. I think if you just got to find out what their mojo is. And what I mean by mojo is just what moves their heart. What is it that you can put a smile on their face? What is it that you can do to change their attitude and put them in the right direction? And what was the first question?
These young men thought that the misguidance of their mother was the cause of their situation.
Yeah, I think some of that is a cop out just because we all have our stories. And I can see that and I sympathize with them. But, and I've had my own issues with my mom. But, we do have to kind of make our own choices and stuff. And I think it's a little bit of a cop out. I wouldn't say a total cop out, but a little bit of a cop out. That's my own belief and stuff and feelings. And it may be an individual, case by case deal. But we're all individuals, and my feeling is with something like that, at least try to, I have the gift of being able to write songs and get it off my chest. Some people can't do that, and I understand that. That's a good question. I have to really ponder on that one, Larry. That was good.
Well, now you mentioned that in working with girls or females, that they were more of a hardened nature than the males.
Correct.
I'm wondering if this genesis of this mother issue with my guys came from the fact that their mothers had been, if not incarcerated, of a criminal nature, and therefore they were hardened to the extent that they weren't mother-like, like you and I might know.
Oh, I would agree with that. Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot, especially nowadays, there's a lot of factors nowadays with trying to be a mom. And it's not like it was when you or I were kids. And so I can see where, some of these women probably haven't been a really good mentor or mom for their children, and that would rub off. Absolutely. I mean, I mentored one kid, and I was going to bring him home for the weekend, and his mom said, "You don't have to bring him back." And he heard her say that. Mm. So what are you talking about? She goes, "You can just keep him if you want to keep him. I don't care. I don't love him that much." And that it had to have hurt. He was like maybe 10 years old. It had to have hurt him. So that, and I see where some women get really angry, but again, dealing with women that have been, abused or molested or any of that stuff, they internalize it and they don't really talk about it. And I can only imagine as they get older, when they have kids, yeah, stuff happens. And so we walk this fine line especially with kids, because, once they turn 18, they age out, they usually end up homeless. And that's when they, start working with the law.
And you will be happy too.